I'm here at Frieze, and in the booth with 47 Canal, you will find a booth that is playing with the antique store or a thrift store, bringing maybe a more working class way of encountering artworks. It's inspired by Hemel Hempstead, which is a town outside of London that I actually grew up in. I did grow up going to those types of stores and seeing watercolours and things like this. It's looking at how Hemel was a new built town that was built in the 50s for like social housing for a lot of people moving from London to get away from the conditions, like people that maybe lived in bombed out housing. So it was a really utopian project of bringing housing to a lot of white working class people in the UK at the time. And so I was interested in the relationship or the contradiction of how it was for me to grow up in this town as a biracial person. I'm half Nigerian, half British, and it was, I suppose, a difficult or not just streamlined time. And so the work is all to do with thinking about that in relation to my own experience, but also thinking about how Hemel is now much more diverse and what's the reactions to that from people who have a kind of nostalgic idea of what Hemel used to be. The film Hemel that I recently made, which is part of this body of work, well, the starting point was a sci-fi film that was shot in Hemel Hempstead in the 50s called Quatermass 2, about an alien entity in the form of black goo that threatens to destroy Hemel Hempstead and the whole world. And it's interesting because it apparently possesses the workers of the town and is cultivated in a factory. So I took a lot of the themes in that film and also some of the scenes and restaged them in Hemel Hempstead. Because a lot of sci-fi films, in particular this one, they obscure some of the fear of the other or the kind of hysteria that might have been occurring at the time. And I thought about that in relation to the town because there is a lot of that was probably in the past but also is still present. Those people are taking our jobs, that kind of blaming migration on maybe the kind of degradation in the town that's occurring for other reasons. So I wanted to figure out a way of capturing something to do with this alien entity that was infiltrating the town. I depict it using black slime that in a kind of B-movie style moves across a model. And so I was thinking about, in relation to these drawings, like how could I have something that was less predictable or less controlled than the way that I was painting with the watercolor. And I started to experiment with marbling, and I found this type of marbling that is from Turkey, where you use a thicker substance in the water called akin, and you can draw into it. And so I ended up using the black and starting to draw faces into the surface of the water. So this work, Market House in Hemel Hempstead, is a depiction of the old town in Hemel that I found in an archive, and I redrew it again and then added this marbling as if it was threatening from the sky, from elsewhere. And so these faces I saw as maybe ghostly presence, like maybe even to do with the history of slavery and this like relationship to labor and to elsewhere that is always a part of places in the UK. There's a book by David Batchelor called Chromophobia, which talks about the fear of colour. So I was really interested in it being both really exciting and modern and in contrast to the black and white, old style, nostalgic drawings, but also there is this maybe sickly or fearful relationship to colour.